Come to order. Members will be in their seats. The clerk has opened the roll. You may record your presence. Please rise and give your attention to the House chaplain and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Representative Carlin.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, thank you for this day that you have blessed us with. I pray for these leaders who have been given the privilege and responsibility of conducting business on behalf of Kansans. They have tremendous tasks before them. No one person is equal to such task, but with your guidance and them working together, the goals can be achieved. Be with them as they serve today. Give them the wisdom of Solomon, the patience of Job, and the compassion of the Good Samaritan, so they can say they have served their people well. In Christ's name I pray, amen.
Anderson, where's Avery? Have all members had an opportunity to record their presence? The clerk will close the roll and record the attendance. The speaker recognizes Representative Proctor on a point of personal privilege.
Fired up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I have with me here at the well and in the balcony the Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC Raider team. Down here with me at the well are coaches First Sergeant Wayne Cogdell, Miss Mary Schwartz, Cadets Sophia Rebaccini, Garrett Matchek, Caleb Denny, Issa Lazoya, Connor Quinn Coleman, Amber Temple, Clive Siegert, and Catherine Edwards. A couple months ago in Molina, Georgia, the Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC Raiders won the Raider National Championship for an incredible third time in 4 years. This is a grueling 3-day competition, which includes physical training tests, a 5K run, a 1-rope bridge. They beat 94 other teams from across the country to win this championship. Several of you have asked me from last year when I brought this team up here, how a small city like Leavenworth can so consistently defeat so many teams from bigger cities from across the nation. It is definitely a testament to these kids, their hard work and determination to excel. But it's also about these coaches who sacrifices so much to inspire these kids to go a little bit faster, a little bit longer. And it's a testament to the parents of each one of these kids who sacrifice so much of their time and money to make this team work day in and day out. And finally, it's about the entire community of Leavenworth, Fort Leavenworth, and Lansing that give so much of their time and treasure to support this team and give them the resources they need to achieve and win these championships year after year. And so on behalf of the Kansas House of Representatives, I'm honored to present this tribute to the Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC Raiders. Your hard work, dedication, and commitment to excellence reflect great credit on your team, Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC, the city of Leavenworth, and the state of Kansas. Mr. Speaker, I ask that my words be spread across the journal.
Without objection, so ordered. House Bill 2030 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on K through 12 Budget. House Bill 2040 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on K through 12 Budget. House Bill 2048 is withdrawn from the Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on K through 12 Budget. House Bill 2083 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee of the Whole. House Bill 2105 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Financial Institutions. House Bill 2123 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Commerce. House Bill 2139 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Judiciary. House Bill 2140 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Welfare Reform. House Bill 2144 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to the Committee of the Whole. House Bill 2154 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Energy. House Bill 2168 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Ag and Natural Resources. House Bill 2194 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Child Welfare. House Bill 2218 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on K through 12 Budget. House Bill 2247 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Financial Institutions. House Bill 2261 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on K through 12 Budget. House Bill 2271 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on K through 12 Budget. House Bill 2275 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Commerce. House Bill 2299 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Child Welfare. House Bill 2312 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Elections. House Bill 2334 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Commerce. House Bill 2344 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee of the Whole. House Bill 2361 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Child Welfare. House Bill 2380 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Corrections. House Bill 2388 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Commerce. House Bill 2391 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Elections. House Bill 2400 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Commerce. House Bill 2401 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Commerce. House Bill 2313 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Health. House Bill 2225 is withdrawn from the Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee of the Whole. House Bill 2259 is withdrawn from Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Health. Wow. Messages from the Senate. The clerk will read.
Announcing passage of Senate Bills 3, 5, 6, 8, 13, 24, 27, 28, 33, 34, 37, 49, 75, 83, 91, 96, 98, 113, 119, 120, 123, substitute for Senate Bill 131, Senate Bill 169, 174, 180, 194, 205, 208, 209, 217, 219, 221, 228, 229, substitute for Senate Bill 232, 233, 243, and 248. Announcing adoption of House Concurrent Resolution 5012. Senate Bill number 3 by Senator Bowers, an act designating Silvosaurus condreyi as the official state land fossil. Senate Bill number 5 by Senator Stephan, an act concerning health and welfare relating to the Kansas Telemedicine Act, prohibiting and prescribing medications intended to induce an abortion via telemedicine. Senate Bill number 6 by Senator Stephan, an act concerning infectious and contagious diseases relating to Secretary of Health and Environment and local health officers, restricting the powers thereof. Senate Bill number 8 by Senator Stephan. An act concerning property taxation relating to personal property, reducing penalties for the late filing of or failure to file statements listing property for assessment and discovery of escaped property. Senate Bill number 13 by Senators Hawk and Billinger, an act concerning schools relating to State High School Activities Association contracts for exclusive broadcast coverage of postseason activities. Senate Bill number 24 by the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance, an act concerning insurance relating to coverage for autism spectrum disorder, changing the required number of employees contained in the definition of large employer and small employer. Senate Bill number 27 by the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance, an act concerning insurance relating to the Uniform Insurance Agents Licensure Act, Public Adjusters Licensing Act, authorizing the Commissioner of Insurance to set the amount of certain fees, requiring information obtained from background checks, fingerprinting, and criminal history record checks be used solely for the purpose of verifying the identification of an applicant and the fitness of an applicant. Senate Bill number 28 by the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance, an act concerning insurance relating to certain group-funded insurance pools, discontinuing payments paid to the group-funded pools fee fund and the group-funded workers' compensation fee fund. Senate Bill number 33 by the Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning income taxation relating to Kansas adjusted gross income, eliminating the income limitation to receive the subtraction modification exempting Social Security benefits. Senate Bill number 34 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning housing relating to the Kansas Rural Housing Incentive District Act, expanding the availability of such districts to certain cities and the use of bond proceeds. Senate Bill number 37 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning taxation related to the Kansas Housing Investor Tax Credit Act, expanding the transferability of income, privilege, and premium tax credits issued under the act. Senate Bill number 49 by the Committee on Utilities, an act concerning wind energy conversion systems relating to aviation obstruction lighting, requiring new wind energy conversion system to be constructed with light mitigating technology systems prior to the commencement of operations. Senate Bill number 75 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning legal rate of interest relating to the percentage rate used to calculate interest. Senate Bill number 83 by the Committee on Education, an act concerning education relating to the tax credit for low-income student scholarship program, providing for additional student eligibility and increasing the tax credit for contributions made pursuant to such programs. Senate Bill number 91 by the Committee on Commerce, an act concerning economic development, enacting the Kansas Film and Digital Media Production Development Act, establishing an income tax credit and sales tax exemption program to be administered by the Secretary of Commerce for the purpose of developing film, video, or digital production in Kansas. Thank you. Senate Bill number 96 by the Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning taxation relating to income, privilege, and premium tax credits, establishing a tax credit for contributions to eligible charitable organizations operating pregnancy centers or residential maternity facilities. Senate Bill number 98 by the Committee on Education, an act concerning post-secondary and postgraduate financial assistance, osteopathic medical service scholarships, medical student loan program, and residency bridging program. Senate Bill number 113 by the Committee on Public Health and Welfare, an act concerning health and health care relating to naturopathic doctors, providing naturopathic doctors a certificate of authorization for a business entity to practice medicine. Senate Bill number 119 by the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance, an act concerning insurance relating to insurance law, updating certain obsolete statutory references. Senate Bill number 120 by the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources, An act concerning water relating to water infrastructure projects, authorizing the Secretary of Health and Environment to adopt rules and regulations for an annual certification program for the replacement of distribution system segments. Senate Bill number 123 by Senators Pittman and Peck, an act concerning post-secondary education relating to residency determination of certain students, deeming veterans and dependents or spouses of such veterans who were stationed in the state for at least 11 months as residents for purposes of tuition and fees. Senate Bill number 131 by the Committee on Public Health and Welfare, an act concerning certain health providers relating to the powers, duties, and functions thereof, providing a sports waiver for certain out-of-state physicians to practice medicine on a limited basis in the state during certain sporting events. Senate Bill number 169 by the Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning income taxation relating to rates, providing a 4.75% tax rate for individuals. Senate Bill number 174 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure relating to interference with law enforcement. Senate Bill number 180 by the Committee on Public Health and Welfare, an act establishing the Women's Bill of Rights, providing a meaning of biological sex for purposes of statutory construction. Senate Bill number 194 by the Committee on Ways and Means, an act concerning hospital districts relating to qualification of hospital board members, removing the requirement that such members be qualified electors. Senate Bill number 205 by the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources, an act concerning water relating to water rights, authorizing certain water rights in a water bank to participate in multi-year flex accounts on a temporary basis. Senate Bill number 208 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning elections relating to advance voting ballots, restricting the number of remote ballot boxes that may be used for the return of such ballots, providing monitoring requirements for the use of such ballots. Senate Bill number 209 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning elections relating to advance voting ballots, requiring the return of such ballots by 7 p.m. on the day of the election. Senate Bill number 217 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning the unlawful use of electronic tracking systems or tracking information relating to stalking, providing criminal penalties for the conduct of utilizing any electronic tracking system or acquiring tracking information to determine the targeted person's location, movement, or travel patterns when done as part of an unlawful course of conduct. Thank you. Senate Bill number 219 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning insurance relating to the Healthcare Provider Insurance Availability Act, designating certain healthcare providers as being ineligible to purchase professional liability insurance from the Healthcare Stabilization Fund, requiring such healthcare providers to maintain continuous professional liability insurance coverage equivalent to that provided by the Healthcare Stabilization Fund as a condition of licensure. Senate Bill number 221 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning elections relating to write-in candidates, requiring affidavits of write-in candidacy for certain locally elected office. Senate Bill number 228 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning county jails, removing the requirement that every county shall have a jail, modernizing requirements related to food and drink, medical care for prisoners, and jail records, modifying procedures used when district courts commit prisoners to jail in another county and when counties contract with city jails or other county jails to keep prisoners. Senate Bill number 229 by the Committee on Commerce, an act concerning motor vehicles relating to distinctive license plates, providing for the City of Topeka license plate. Substitute for Senate Bill number 232 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning children and minors, establishing the Office of the Child Advocate as an independent state agency and prescribing certain powers, duties, and functions therefore, authorizing access to certain records and relating to children in need of care. Senate Bill number 233 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning gender identity medical care, creating a civil cause of action against a physician who performs childhood gender reassignment service. Senate Bill number 243 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning minors relating to settlement agreements, providing requirements and procedures for a person having legal custody of a minor to enter into a settlement agreement on behalf of the minor, increasing certain related dollar amounts in the Kansas Uniform transfers to minor act, and act for obtaining a guardian or conservator or both. Senate Bill number 248 by the Committee on Assessment and Taxation, an act concerning sales and compensating use tax relating to food, providing a sales tax exemption for healthy food, repealing the state rate reduction for sales of certain food and food ingredients. House Concurrent Resolution number 5012 by Representatives Hawkins, Croft, and Vic Miller, a concurrent resolution relating to the adjournment of the Senate and House of Representatives for a period of time during the 2023 regular session of the Legislature.
Senate Bill 83 is hereby referred to K through 12 budget. Introduction of original motions and House resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Resolution number 6012 by Representatives Sawyer, Burkamp, Berquist, Collins, and Syward. A resolution commemorating the 125th anniversary of Friends University in Wichita, Kansas. Whereas Friends University traces its roots to 1885 when the Christian Churches of Kansas voted to establish an institution of higher learning, which was then named Garfield College. And whereas Garfield College was named in honor of President James A. Garfield, and whereas Garfield College opened its doors in September 1887 and closed in 1892. In 1898, businessman James M. Davis secured the Garfield College building and immediately offered the entire holding to the Kansas Friends, which paved the way to the reopening of the building and school as a Quaker school to be named Friends University. Whereas Friends University opened on September 21st, 1898 with 53 students and 12 faculty members. Whereas in 1901, the first class of graduates were recognized by the university. The university continued to thrive, such that by 1914, its enrollment population had grown to 450 students. Whereas Friends University operated as a Quaker institution until the 1930s, when governance of the school was vested to an independent board of trustees. Whereas Friends University continued to operate in a collaborative relationship with the Society of Friends. Whereas Friends University continued to reflect on the Quakers' founders' visions and values by focusing and offering a transformational education that honors God and places special value on each individual. Whereas from its inception, Friends University was one of the first higher education institutions in Kansas to admit women and African American students. Whereas Friends University recognized the call to meet the increasing needs of students by offering a new degree completion program in 1985, which catered to adults wishing to complete their bachelor's degree while maintaining their busy lives. Whereas in 1986, Friends University further expanded its academic offering by approving 2 new master's programs. Friends University reaches students across Kansas by hosting classes in Wichita, Hutchinson, Dodge City, Iola, and Topeka. Whereas Friends University also operates an education center in the Kansas City area and administers online programs. Whereas throughout its history, the university has remained committed to its central core, the arts and sciences, providing a holistic education for every student and upholding the respect, inclusion, service, and excellence values in the learning community. Whereas Friends University serves more than 2,000 students from over 43 states, 2 territories, and 19 countries. Whereas Friends University offers online learning with 60 areas of study. Friends University employs more than 682 Kansans as faculty and staff who are committed to Friends University's mission to instill in students the values of honoring God and serving others. Whereas there are thousands of Friends University graduates serving people all over the world, be it as teachers, executives, doctors, artists, pastors, technology experts, and other professions. Whereas Friends University is a significant economic benefactor to the state of Kansas, contributing $76.9 million in economic impact per year and $5.5 million in state and local tax revenue. Whereas Friends University lives its mission in part by preparing Kansans to serve the people in this great state. Now therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the State of Kansas that we commemorate the 125th anniversary of Friends University in Wichita, Kansas.
On House Resolution 6012, the Speaker recognizes Representative Sawyer for a motion to adopt the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, we celebrate the 125th anniversary of Friends University. If you're not familiar with Friends University, it's a beautiful campus right in the heart of Wichita. I would encourage you to visit Friends if you ever get a chance to come to town. I happen to live just a few blocks away, and when I need exercise, it's a great place to walk around. Very beautiful campus. To help us celebrate today, we've got the co-sponsors of the resolution, Representative Berkowitz, Representative Ken Collins, Representative Burkamp, and Representative Sywert. Also, we have special guests from Friends University. We have the president of Friends University, Dr. Amy Bragg Carey. We have the chair of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Thane Thompson. We have the student body president, Becker Truster. We have the director of alumni, Jessica Boone. And we have the communications director, Laura Fuller. Let's give them a round of applause. Mr. Speaker, I move the adoption of House Resolution 6012.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. You wish your remarks to be spread across the journal?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I request my remarks be spread across the journal.
Without objection, so ordered. The Speaker recognizes Majority Leader Croft for a motion to resolve into the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, I move the House resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for considering those items under the heading of General Orders.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries. The Speaker appoints Representative Landwehr to chair the Committee of the Whole.
Good morning. I hope everyone had a good break, so we'll get things started here. The first item of business is Senate Bill 39. For the purpose of carrying Senate Bill 39, the chair recognizes Representative Butler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise before the body to present Senate Bill 39. This bill comes from the floor today from the House Military and Veterans Committee, and there are no committee amendments. I'd like to go back in time just for a moment, back to the year 2000. In the year 2000, the idea was brought forward to place a mural in the Kansas Capitol building honoring the 1st Kansas Colored Voluntary Infantry Regiment. Senate Bill 660 was approved. However, during the renovation of the Capitol building, it was instead decided to have a mural of the Brown versus the Board of Education placed on the 3rd floor of the South Wing. Now, 23 years later, this bill, Senate Bill 39, to install a mural of the 1st Kansas Colored Voluntary Infantry Regiment has been brought forward. Senate Bill 39 would require the Capitol Preservation Committee to develop and approve plans to place a mural in the Capitol building honoring the 1st Kansas Colored Voluntary Infantry Regiment. No money is requested in this bill, and Senate Bill 39 would prohibit public funding from being expended to finance the creation and installation of the mural. Additionally, in Senate Bill 39, the Secretary of Administration would be authorized to receive donations as specified in the bill. All donations would be credited to the 1st Kansas Colored Voluntary Infantry Regiment Mural Fund, which the bill would establish. Expenditures from the 1st Kansas Colored Voluntary Infantry Regiment Mural Fund would be for the creation and installation of the mural. According to the Department of Administration, enactment of the bill would have no physical effect on agency operations. The total cost of the venture will not be known until the request for proposal is published and bids are submitted by prospective muralists. The location of the mural will be determined by the Capital Preservation Committee. Senate Bill 39 was introduced by Senator Bowers on behalf of the Capital Preservation Committee. Thank you, Madam Chair. I would be happy to stand for questions.
Does anyone else wish to speak to the bill? The chair recognizes Representative Collins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say a few words in support of this bill and this mural. The history of this unit, they were in Fort Scott, which is in southeast Kansas, as many of you know, and they traveled down to Baxter Springs and then on to Fort Gibson, Oklahoma. And the road that they took was the old military highway, which just happens to go right next to my house. And I just feel it's an important piece of history for Kansas, especially for southeast Kansas. And so with that, I would encourage everyone to vote for this bill. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to speak to the bill? The chair recognizes Representative Weigel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What the two other speakers came up and talked about is very true. It's a good bill. It's a bipartisan, and I'm sure that all of us that work here in this magnificent Capitol will want to see that mural, and also for future generations that would come to see it. I urge your support for the Senate Bill 39. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, seeing no further discussion, Representative Butler, you may close.
Madam Chair, I move that when the body rises to report, it reports Senate Bill 39 favorable for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Butler to report Senate Bill 39 favorably. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The next item of business is House Bill 22990. For the purpose of carrying House Bill 22990, the chair recognizes Representative Wasinger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There were no amendments.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. No. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Motion passes, and the committee report is adopted. Please continue.
Body, this is a bill that it's easier to look at you and tell you what it is. Fort Hays State University was gotten in touch with about 2 years ago by one of the local technical colleges about doing some sort of affiliation, which has already been done with Washburn as well as Wichita State University with different entities. So North Central Kansas VOTEC and Northwest Kansas VOTEC are now wanting to affiliate with Fort Hays State University. The joy of this is they all stay with their own funding sources. They all have their own board of directors. But what they get to do is each of the technical schools they're diplomas will say at Fort Hays State University and their name. And this affords the ability of students to go seamlessly between VOTEC and college. We find that sometimes kids are in VOTEC and they realize, oh, I need some classes, different classes. They're not being offered here. They can seamlessly go over to Fort Hays and take the classes that they need to supplement their education for whatever their final journey takes them. And it also goes the other way. If someone is in Fort Hays and they realize that they're over their head, they would prefer to be in nursing or automobile mechanics, whatever it is, they can easily transfer to the different schools. All of their boards have approved this. Everyone's excited about it. And they ask that you approve this bill so they can go ahead and get this taken care of. It's going to be great for our workforce in Western Kansas. We need employees that can do all the technical work as well as do the college work. With that, I'll stand for questions.
Does any member desire to speak to the bill? The chair recognizes Representative Woodard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of House Bill 2290. I think that it was great to hear from all the interested parties in support of this, and so I would urge your support for House Bill 2290. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Is there further discussion? The chair recognizes Representative Haskins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The carrier did a fine job, excellent job presenting it, and I stand in support of this bill. My background makes me feel obligated to come up here. I have career in technical education, has been in the wheelhouse, doctorate in the field, worked at Kansas State Department of Ed, part of Senate Bill 155 development, and this is the logical choice or the next step as we roll into supporting post-secondary education. And until we provide more funding for those institutions and stop putting the burden of supporting those institutions on the back of our students, these affiliations and these partnerships are the way that these schools will survive. As a graduate chair at Baker University, I commonly work on these articulation agreements, and it's really a great thing for the universities, post-secondary, and the students of Kansas. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on the bill? The chair recognizes Representative Howe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to share with the body to the extent of the process which goes into this affiliation. First, each respective technical college had to get approval by its individual board of directors. It was then presented to the Kansas Board of Regents where they had to approve it in the next step. Then there had to be introduction of legislation. So I urge your support for that today. Of course, I would urge the Senate to take it up immediately for consideration. But if enacted by the governor, it would go to the Higher Learning Commission, which is the accrediting body, and they have to sign off on it. Then it goes back to all three institutions for ratification. So it is quite the process. No opponent testimony was offered in committee, and I would urge your support because this can help Kansas families, it supports our Kansas businesses, and it will advance economic prosperity, especially in rural Kansas. So thank you very much.
Does anyone else wish to speak to the bill? The chair recognizes Representative Rogers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was before you last week to say it was a great day for Kansas when we passed this water bill. This is another good day for Western Kansas and really for all of Kansas. I know probably everybody's in full support, but I just want to do a quick situation that this was brought forth from the tech schools. This isn't forced anything. This is how do we make Western Kansas strong? Of the tech schools, the technical colleges that are there, whether you be a trailblazer or a maverick, one's North Central and one's Northwest, but to become a part of Fort Hays. And we talk a lot about higher education and what maybe do some of those degrees offer. Well, with this combining together, not only growing the workforce through technical education, but also giving that opportunity to go to still one of the best and affordable universities in the region at Fort Hays State. So with that, you've heard everything. You've probably seen the bill brief. This is really a formality that has to be done through the legislative process, but I would encourage you to join me in full support of House Bill 2290. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Seeing no further discussion, the chair will recognize Representative Wasinger, and you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is important to Hays in Western Kansas, just like Representative from Agra told you. It's a really good idea, and it's a really excellent thing that these three schools are getting together and working hard for our students out in Western Kansas. We'd like to keep them out there. Madam Chair, I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports House Bill 2290 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Wasinger to report House Bill 2290 favorably. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes do have it. Motion carries. The next item of business is House Bill 2176. For the purpose of carrying House Bill 2176, the chair recognizes Representative Rhiley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There were amendments, and so I would like to move the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes and the committee report is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is really a tale of two cities, and it's a tale of local control, where both of these libraries, the library from Udall, the library from the city of Arc City, want to have the opportunity to take to their citizens the ability to put it to the local ballot to get a 51% majority in order to change from being representing just the city and tax authority for just the city to the tax authority of the school board or the school area. So two different cities, two different changes as far as one is just a library that's just a very, very small library, which is Udall, that they're trying to establish something that they haven't had for 15 years. And then the library from Arc City that's been a very active, have a lot of kids that from school, the school district come there. It's been a very active district and they need the opportunity to also grow. And so they're asking for the authority to change their taxing district. Thank you. I'll stand for questions.
Does any member desire to speak to the bill? The chair recognizes Representative Sawyer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of the bill. As the carrier said, this deals with local control. In Cowley County, they have 3 libraries right now, one in Winfield, one in Arc City, one in Udall. This bill doesn't affect the Winfield Library, but affects the other 2. The one in Udall, if you're familiar with the town of Udall, there isn't much there. They don't have much of a tax base, so they really can't do much with the library with the tax base they have. So their purpose is to expand that taxing district to the size of the school district so they have a larger tax base of which to raise funds. And in the case of Udall, it won't raise, that change, if the voters vote yes, won't even raise taxes on anybody, because the levy that the people in the county portion are paying now to the South Central Regional Library will go away and it'll be replaced by the library by Udall, and they're only talking about levying a mill, so it won't change anything. In the case of Arc City, they have a very, as the carrier said, they have a very vibrant library, but they've been capped at the maximum mill levy of 6 mills for years. They don't have any other way to get more money, so they're expanding to the school district. Now, most of the residents of that school district live in the city of Arc City, so they're not expanding to too many people. But what the result will be some additional funds for the library that they badly need, but it'll also actually reduce the mill levy for the residents of the city. They'll go from 6 mills to 5 mills, and there will be a small levy increase for the few residents that do live in the county. But the bottom line is the libraries will be improved, and most of the residents will not get a tax increase, but it will be up to the local residents. If we pass this bill, it only authorizes them to proceed with a local vote to decide for themselves what they want to do, if they want to improve their library services or not. So I would encourage the body to support the bill.
Seeing no one wishing to further discussion, if I will recognize Representative Rhiley, you may close.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I would move when the body rises a report, they would report House Bill 2176 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Rhiley to report House Bill 2176 favorably. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes do have it. Motion carries. This concludes our general order. The chair recognizes the majority leader, Representative Croft.
Madam Chair, I move we rise and report.
You've heard the motion to rise and report. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, aye. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. Motion passes.
Clerk will read the committee report.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole recommends House Bill 2290 and Senate Bill 39 be passed. House Bills 2176 be passed as amended.
Speaker recognizes Representative Landwehr.
Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the committee report.
You've heard the motion to adopt the committee report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. House Bill 2331 is withdrawn from the Committee on Appropriations and referred to Committee on Ag and Natural Resources. Are there announcements? Speaker recognizes Representative Wasinger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dustin Roths of Diamond Art Jewelry, which is located in beautiful downtown Hayes, will be here tomorrow, Thursday, from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. outside of the old Supreme Court room to show the new legislative rings that he has designed. So if you have a chance to stop by and just quick look at them on your way to other things, please do. Thank you.
Speaker recognizes Representative Stogsdill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Democrats will have agenda tomorrow morning, 8:30, 152 South. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker recognizes Representative Poskins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Johnson County delegation will meet at noon in room 582 North. Lunch and presentation will be provided by Reach Healthcare Foundation, Johnson County delegation, room 582 North at noon. Thank you.
Speaker recognizes Representative Rhiley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, room 142, we'll have coffee, prayer breakfast. So our speaker will be Jim Walden. He's from the Grace Point Church in Topeka. Also, I'd like to bring to your attention, even though you might not have got your donation in early, coming up this next Tuesday, March 7th, we have the 61st Kansas Prayer Breakfast. It's going to be at the Fellowship Bible Church. They will have, like Wendy's, breakfasts, quick snack breakfasts at 6:30 if you stop by early. And then at 7 o'clock, the program will start. Again, that's March 7th, Tuesday, 61st Kansas Prayer Breakfast.
Speaker recognizes Representative Ellis.
Veterans Committee, meeting at the rail.
Speaker recognizes Representative Susan Ruiz.
Last week, you should have received a flyer regarding the Early Learning Caucus. We're meeting today at noon, room 144. Lunch will be provided by the Kansas Action for Children, and the topic is about childcare in Kansas, challenges and opportunities. Thank you.
Speaker recognizes Representative Wahhabism.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. South Central Delegation, got good news and bad news. I'll start off the bad news. There's no luncheon today. I know. Good news, we have lunch next week. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker recognizes Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is no K-12 education budget today. However, we will have a meeting tomorrow. We will have a hearing on Senate Bill 83.
Representative Rebecca Schmoy will replace Representative David Beeler on the House Committee on Federal State Affairs on March 2nd. This appointment will expire at the end of the day on March 2nd. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, the Speaker recognizes the Majority Leader for a motion to adjourn.
Republicans will calendar tomorrow, 8:30 in the old Supreme Court room. Mr. Speaker, I move the House adjourn until Thursday, March 2nd at 11 a.m.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion, or we are adjourned.